Hello, this is Savannah Helzer, and I'm going to be sharing with you guys a selection featuring the Spanish arrival portrayed in the Great Wall murals of LA that was directed by Judith Bacall. It is a depiction of Gaspar de Portola's expedition to the California coastline in 1769. The progression of the images for this presentation will demonstrate the strife, loss, and hope many Native Americans and detribalized people hold today. The one that I'm speaking of specifically deals with the strife that resulted from the clash of the Spanish with the natives. Portola's expedition began as an order from Carlos III, the King of Spain, in 1768. Portola was the head voyager of one of four ongoing attempts to lead Spanish settlers into the territory lying between the peninsula and the British possessions, according to H.D. Bowers. When they would arrive in the generally designated area, they would be met by California natives. Although Bowers describes them as half-naked, degraded Indians, it is important to note that this is not the only view the Europeans held. William Sturtevant proposes a more positive outlook of the Native Americans. He says that when early explorers had encountered natives, they generally characterized them as shy and friendly. According to Neil Sanchez, the expedition of Portola is undoubtedly the first occasion when the eye of the white man rested upon the great arm of the sea, that is, the inner harbor of San Francisco as we know it. The expedition was viewed as a mishap because in the expedition, Portola overshot Monterey and ended up in the Bay of San Francisco. To the natives, this clash of cultures was more than just a mishap. It was a disruption of their way of life. Now that we have a better understanding of the historical context behind the image, let's take a closer look at it. Here we see Portola looking off into the shore of California. He is dressed in European manner, with an armor plate and a helmet. As he looks to the shore of California, he seems hopeful yet weary of possible danger. His crew seem distraught, miserable, and aggressive. No wonder, since they had been starving and suffering from disease for so long. Figured as dreamed-up apparitions, the natives of California seem dignified and ready. They are displayed with the wealth of the coast. They have colorful earrings, gold crowns, and seashell necklaces. It is interesting to note that Portola is riding the waves to the land, while the California natives stand on firm ground, possibly to emphasize the difference between the natives and the Spanish. The natives were people who were established on the land for so long, while the Spanish were people who seemed to be testing the waters in a sense.
Hi, my name is Valeria, and today I will be describing to you the Indian Assimilation by Judith Bacall. This is a part of the Great Wall. It is part of one of the murals in there. As you can see, there is a native dressed in his traditional clothing walking towards a flame. He doesn't look very enthusiastic to be there. As we move a little bit to the center of the picture, we can see flames and two white men dressed in police attire cutting and undressing a native. You can see that the native looks like he's giving up, like there's no way out of this. It's either join them or die. And a little bit towards the end, we could see the native already dressed in civilized clothing and being sent off to boarding school. Now, this is part of history where the Americans or the Spanish were the ones who were sending these native wild savages to school because they thought they were uneducated. And in a way, this is a forced assimilation. This picture looks like they gave up completely to the Spanish. You can obviously see that they're still struggling for their identity even today. As San Francisco, as they claim the island, as the struggle for land right now is a constant fight for their human rights.
My name is Alexis Cuevas. My piece is Sacred Smoke by Harry Work Alvarez and Geraldine Guerraluz Lozano, along with collaborator Jorge Varios. Work is a Mexican artist raised in the US, and Guerraluz is a Chicana artist based in Brooklyn, New York. Along with other murals by Alvarez, this is brilliantly colored and immediately eye-catching. There's definitely a surrealist quality to his work stylistically. The theme indicates his cultural identity as a border artist. Border art is contemporary practice of art stemmed from the socio-political experience of people living along the border states and Mexico. Sacred Smoke is located in El Centro Histórico in Mexico City. Work himself describes the piece on his Facebook. Inspired by the Day of the Dead celebration in Mexico, which is rooted in pre-Columbian times within the Aztec, Mexica, and Mayan cultures. The Maya celebrated this day as a lucky day of wise transformation. In ancient times, death was also referred to as the direction north, which symbolized the ancestors. Seeking wisdom and guidance from the ancestors was at the heart of Mayan ritual practice. The piece depicts a sitting skull-faced figure holding a skull and a caiman at its feet. The skull appears to be the glyph Miquitztli, or death. The caiman might represent Kipactli, which is often illustrated as a sea monster with crocodile and fish-like features. In one creation myth, this creature was destroyed and its body was used to create the heavens and earth. Smoke spews from the skull and more or less human characters' mouth to create a cloud of psychedelic colors. The palette of this mural is limited to this bold pink and blue, unifying the whole piece as one object and creating an ethereal feel and harkening back to spiritual enlightenment, as the artist mentioned before. The most human-looking character is also the most interesting. It has a skull for a face, a large headdress, and in stark contrast, modern-day street clothes. The colors of the paints are also very reminiscent of contemporary pop art, especially that of the United States pop culture. These elements ground the mural in a theme of multicultural influence. It shows the creator's pride in their ancient heritage and the importance of retaining one's culture in an ever-changing world.